What's poppin', everybody? It's your boy, Snowy Kurama, and welcome to the Season 5 of the WPF, the World Pokemon Federation. I am your coach of the Chicago White Sox this season, and is it not a doozy? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll have all the rules in the description just in case I forget a bunch of things, but I'm here to go ahead and talk about what I drafted for this season. I'm in this league. It's brand new to me, of course. My buddy Jake, Mancini The Amazing, Electric, whatever you want to call him is his name. He is a moderator for this server, the Discord server we're on, and as well as is in the S division, which is kind of the top of the mill type of battlers and drafters and whatnot, something you'd expect him to be in. But I'm not talking about him today, we're talking about us. As per usual, nothing's more important, am I right? Anyway, we are here to talk about our draft and whatnot and breakdown. So if you guys are hyped and excited for that, press that like, hit that subscribe, and let's go ahead and get right into the team builder. So this is a DLC legacy draft, or at least that's the tier it's in on the sports server of whatever thing I'm on for Showdown. I don't know, it's something new to me. And this league has different tiers from the GTS, as well as different from the PDL. They have like tier 1A, tier 1B, 2A, 3B, and all that type of stuff. And then 5 is just a regular 5. That's where all your NFEs and really shitty fully evolved mons sit at. You know how it is. And we just use our points. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, we have our points there. It's 1,100 points for 11 mons, so an average of 100 points per mon, and I completely misunderstood that. I'll get into that more once we get into the draft. So yeah, let's just get right on into it. First up, we were number 12 out of 18. And I was in D division, which is kind of the lowest of the low, the smallest you can get, which is just fine. I mean, we all start somewhere in the WPF and other places. And there are 4 other divisions with 18 coaches. We had about 200-something people try out. There was a tryout thing. It's crazy. This server is ginormous, by the way. So that's 18 times 5, whatever that math comes out to. 200 minus that is who didn't get in. So I think it's about 50% of the people who applied got in, maybe a little bit less than that. But anyway, our first pick is something that I really wanted to try out ever since I found out that it was busted in National Dex, and that is Big Boy Melmetal. Look at that HP attack and defense stat, folks. This thing is crazy. It came from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and now it is here in Sword and Shield, ready to bash some heads in. We can run Choice Banded, as we see on PokeAim's channel, definitely where I got the idea for this stuff. Iron Fist is here. Pokemon Punch-based attacks have times 1.2 power, which is really good for Thunder Punch in case we run into those bulky waters, which we will. We also have Double Iron Bash, which, if you don't know what that is, it hits twice, 30% chance to flinch, so that is a base 120 stab move that has a chance to flinch. It's crazy. Toss a band on this thing that's 140 attack, and it'll just run house. We've got Super Power here also, and Thunder Punch, like I mentioned, Rock Slide, just a bunch of different moves, different coverage answers. Earthquake here as well. High Horsepower in case you run into Grassy Surge. And we have special moves if that's what we want to do. I don't think we will. We could also run an Assault Vest set. We could also do Trick Room. I believe I drafted some Trick Room users. But that's Melmetal. A Tier 1A, I believe, at 180 points. Which, speaking of points and the point system, I didn't realize that you start spending points right away. I thought you drafted your... Okay, so how it works is you have 1 Tier 1, 1 Tier 2, 2 Tier 3s, a Tier 4 to Tier 5, and then you have 5 free agent picks, so that equals 11. I thought you didn't use your points until you went to free agent, but I was mistaken. So I kept trying to find bargain picks and ended up with lots and lots and lots of points at the end, and you'll see that here when we get to those mons. But up next, what I wanted was Jellicent. I was told that Jellicent was a really good bargain pick, definitely cheaper than it's supposed to be in the draft, which I look at its moveset and stuff, I could definitely see. You have toxic options, which everything does, I think, in this draft, barring your original Galarmons. And what else was I going to say about it? Oh yeah, Will-O-Wisp, which is nice. He's got access to Strength Sap now in Generation 8, as well as the Ghost typing, which is great against, or great for having with Melmetal, so that we avoid getting hit with those fighting type attacks, the body presses that come out of whatever random ass mon has body press nowadays. And it's just a really nice physical wall, but somebody, the coach of the Filibuster Flapples, the only person I really knew prior to this league, Jay, she took it week 1. I was like, damn it, that's bad for me. I was a little tilted there, but it's okay. I'll tell you why it's okay when we get to the mon I'm talking about. But I couldn't think of anything else to grab at this point, so I just went ahead and went with Incineroar for our second pick at tier 3, 100 points. Incineroar is a nice pivot with the ability Intimidate that it has now from the hidden abilities from Sun and Moon. It also has Parting Shot now with the Sword and Shield, which lowers the attack and special attack by your opponent, and then you get to switch out, which is crazy because, you know, Intimidate, they already have their attack stat lowered. You Parting Shot, their attack is at half or -2 or however that's calculated. So no matter if it's special or physical attacker, they're going to be doing less with their moves. We also have Fake Out and U-Turn as well. U-Turn's down below somewhere. And you can get HP back with Leech Life, Outrage if we wanted to do that. We could also run a special set if we wanted to, but its physical attack is definitely a lot better. But, you know, it's draft. It's crazy. You can do whatever the hell you want. It also helps us out against really just damage in general from Melmetal because of the Intimidate and the Parting Shot. We can switch in and out and whatnot, so that's really nice. That's Incineroar. Up next, lots of things that I wanted to do is taken. I actually didn't do a lot of planning when it came to this draft, so I was just kind of going as I went, and then about halfway through, I actually got some picks that I really, really wanted to get. So we have Sandaconda next. This was something else that was suggested for me to get when a couple of friends of mine were reviewing the sheet. And they're like, holy shit, why is this so low? Why is that so high? Don't grab that. So we went with Sandaconda. It's a nice mon. It has Shed Skin, which means, you know, status gets cured every so often. Sandveil, if in case we want to actually do that. And Sand Spit, which is cool if we had lots of sand utility, but we really don't. But, I mean, chip damage is chip damage, so however you want to do it. Its defensive stat is great, which is really nice for body press, which gets its attack stat is 107, which is pretty decent. We're probably not going to be going lots of attack, but, you know, you never really know. Its defenses are pretty decent, I guess, and 72 and 70 for special defense. But, you know, it's whatever. This thing gets Glare, which is the big thing. It paralyzes opponents, including electric types, I think. We get Coil, so we can boost up our defenses and our attacks and our accuracy, of course. Body Press, like I mentioned. We have Stab Earthquake. This thing really does help against electric attacks because it, you know, is immune. We have a bunch of other options. We have Stealth Rock here, Zen Headbutt if we want to do that. Outrage, Iron Head. It gets Hurricane, which is you know, gets it, I guess. So it's got some pretty decent coverage, as well as nice defensive stat, you know, physical defensive at least. And it has Glare, which is really, really good, especially for getting things to slow down for a potentially speedy Melmetal sometimes, but I don't know. Next up is Xatu. I grabbed this thing basically because we had nothing to really defend ourselves against. We had nothing really to defend ourselves against ground type attacks yet, so, you know, I wanted the flying type for that immunity, as well as magic bounce here. It blocks certain status moves and bounces them back, so stealth rocks, we don't get them. Somebody tries to toxic me, I can switch in Xatu, and they're toxic now. It's really, really nice, and this thing gets some pretty nice moves from Sun and Moon as well. One of them, well, it's not really probably from Sun and Moon, Sun and Moon. I keep wanting to say Sword and Shield, but I say Sun and Moon. It's weird. But this thing gets Teleport, and in case you didn't know what Teleport does nowadays in Sword and Shield, it allows you to switch out at a -6 priority. So you basically take whatever hit is getting dished out, and then you teleport out to something else. You basically get a free switch if you are confident that you're going to hit. Things that this thing also gets is it gets Roost as well as Defog, so you can get rid of those hazards. It also has access to Toxic, like I said. Foul Play is nice, as well as Dual Screens. Pain Split for recovery, but we'll probably be running Defog mostly. It has Rest, which is cool. Thunder Wave, so we can paralyze things. The U-turn is nice for switching in case we don't want to teleport, and if we're fast enough. We also have Trick, so we could have a Choice Scarf or a Choice Specs and trick it to somebody else, which is pretty handy to have around. I had that type of option back in the GTS. I don't really know if I used it. I think I tried with Obstagoon, but it didn't really work out. Next up is when I was starting to actually formulate my draft with better picks and stuff, and I took back to some of my friends. They said, water type would work good for your team, some high-hitting water type attack. So I went with Keldeo. Keldeo is really cool in 6th Gen. I used it a lot. A Choice Specs, Icy Wind, Demolished Dragonite, which is the thing that I saw the most in low ladder in 6th Gen OU. So I have nice memories with Keldeo. Justified has us raising attack stat if we get hit by the Dark move, which we won't really be doing much with this base 72 attack, but we have some decent attacking physical moves at the very least. Close combat, I also think it gets Liquidation down there. We also have Aqua Jet, but it has a lot of nice special coverage as well and a nice special attack stat. So we have Hydro Pump, Scald as well. We have Aura Sphere now in the DLC, I believe. Focus Blast is here. We have Icy Wind, like I mentioned, and Hidden Powers if we're allowed to use those. I really don't know. I should probably ask somebody, but I have no idea. We also have Calm Mind and Taunt and stuff as well, so this thing will definitely break things that we need it to break, I'm sure. And we didn't have a fighting type yet, so that's nice. And now we can take on things that Keldeo can take on. Next pick, this is what I'm talking about. The unintentional revenge on Jay and the filibuster. Freaking Flapples, that's what they are. Next up, we didn't have a fairy type nor a grass type, so I decided why not have both with Whimsicott. This thing gets Prankster. I saw Adam use it in the GTS and Jake used it in Season 5 of the PDL, so I figured why not grab this thing. It's pretty cool, I guess. We have Defog, Prankster Defog, mind you. Prankster Cotton Guard, Prankster all these status moves. It also has Leech Seed, as I was saying. It's got Knockoff as well, Hurricane, in case we need that. We have Moonblast because it's a fairy, even though not all fairies get Moonblast. We also have some nice grass coverage as well. Memento, in case we want to switch out like that, lowering. It's like a Parting Shot, but more. Not only more does it deal with it more, but also more drawback. You faint rather than being switched out. We also have Tailwind in case we want to speed ourselves up, U-turn if we want to do that, and Taunt as well, which is really nice because it's Prankster Taunt. So we can stop rocks, we can stop hazards, and stop setup if we would like. Its Speed Tiger is, I think, the best out of my whole team right now, which we really needed some speed, which is another reason why Keldeo joined the squad this season. And I'm really excited to see how Whimsicott works in Tier 3, and also this thing was a tier, I think it was a tier 1, like 1B or something. Up next, Jake actually suggested that I take Toxtricity because of the bulky waters, so we have an answer for that. We have a nice big ol' special attack stat of 114, and an not great attack stat, but we could run physical Toxtricity if you wanted to. We have Shift Gear, which raises your attack by 1 and speed by 2, so that's cool. Punk Rock will let us our sound moves do a hell of a lot more than they would. Plus we have Technician just in case we want to do that, but I don't think this thing gets any nice Technician moves, so I don't think we can really take advantage of that. Yeah, Nuzzle, Technician Nuzzle, Technician Thundershock, Power Up Punch, a bunch of things we won't use. Anyway, this thing will mostly be smacking things for lots of damage. We could also potentially set up with shift gear if we are behind the screens and whatnot. So yeah, this thing apparently was the kill leader in last season for a long ass time. So that's pretty nice. That's Toxtricity. I don't know what else to say about that. Next up, when it was my turn again, I went with Rotom, which is nice, 4 Toxtricities, 4 times weakness to ground, as well as melt metals and incineroars, so we don't have that anymore. It's also a nice utility mon. We had it for a slight bit in the GTS. We exchanged our Rotom Frost for just the regular one, because I was like, fuck, what else am I going to get? But if you've seen me on the channel before, you know how I use my Rotom. We have our Will-O-Wisp. We have access to Volt Switch as well. This thing is Ghost, so Shadow Ball is here, just like, you know, all the other Shadow Ball. We have access to Hex 2. We have Defog on this thing, and Nasty Plot now with Sword and Shield. Discharge can paralyze things a bit better as well. So lots of different things we could use our Rotom for. Dual Screens is on this bitch as well, so yeah, that's our Rotom. We also needed a Ghost type in case somebody wanted to spin on us, and now they can't spin on us as reliably anymore because of this thing, which is cool. Also blocks the fighting body press for our Melmetal, which is something that for some reason I'm very scared of. I mean, body press is freaking crazy. I used it on Corviknight pretty recently. +3 bulk up. Don't sleep on it. Next up on the squad is Dugtrio. I was just counting down the picks until it got back to me to get this thing. It is tier 2A, I believe, at 140. So yeah, we're running out of points at this point, but I mean, we also have the most amount of points out of anybody on in the draft, so it's whatever. We have access to Arena Trap because that's illegal here, so you know, Dugtrio, you can either do your Banded, Sash, or Scarf, or any other weird-ass sets. I know this thing from a ground monotype team I used to run all over the place in 7th gen, that this thing has access to Sludge Wave, so we can take out a Bulu from full, potentially on Focus Sash, you know, hit. Sucker Punch is cool. We have Memento as well, so we can switch out. Just a lot of switching out on this team, I guess, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. But, yeah, that's Dugtrio. And actually, after all the drafting happened, we were allowed a grace period of 24 hours to take a look at our team and really switch some things out because, you know, heat of the moment in the draft, you might not actually be thinking very straight, and something that wasn't taken that you might look at later be like, oh, I should have drafted that. You can actually do that here for 24 hours. I believe it has 3 more hours left as I'm recording this. So I actually switched out Dugtrio. I had 40 points left at the end of the draft. Spoilers, of course. And we used those extra 40 points to grab something that would help us a little bit more in our speed. And that is Hydreigon. Hydreigon is another free agent. It is the same pool as Melmetal here at a tier 1A. This thing has access to Nasty Plot and Roost now because everything from home is in. We also have Defog in case we want to do that. Draco Meteor, you know, it's a dragon. We've never had a dragon at this point. Flash Cannon, lots of nice special coverage as well as physical. We have Dragon Dance access to if we wanted a physical Hydreigon. But I never used this before. Well, I used it in 6th gen again in a combination. It was a defensive set, which could definitely be brought in if we need that. It was brought with specially defensive Tentacruel as well as Banded Martyring killing itself Arcanine, and that was really nice back then. So, you know, this thing, nice stats. We could raise its speed up with the Choice Scarf if we needed to do that. And that's Hydreigon. I'm excited to use this thing. It's another dark type, but our fairy weakness is not that big, and we have a nice poison type and a nicer steel type. So that's fine. And we also finally drafted our tier 5 pick. It's Roselia, another grass type, but also another grounded poison, I guess. We had a grounded poison already in Toxtricity. But what we didn't have is spikes and toxic spikes, and that's what Roselia is here to do. See right there. It also has access to Leech Seed, right? Yeah, Leech Seed. Natural Cure so that it can just switch out and stuff Poison Point if we wanted to do that. You know, Leaf Guard, great Zarude ability. Am I right, boys? We have some nice coverage in Dazzling Gleam, extra sensory, and then Hidden Powers if we want. Life Dew if we wanted to do that, I guess. And, you know, this thing is really just going to be setting up our hazards. I think that's really it. But, you know, Roselia is still really nice because its defensive typing is really good in grass and poison. And I think it'll really help us out a lot. Plus, it's a little cute flower. Probably one of the best, or the better Tier 5 picks in that draft. And last but not least, we got something that I really wanted from the beginning. It was a Wish Passer for Melmetal. I later found out that, you know, this thing gets it, but that's neither here nor there. We have Blissey. Blissey has access to Wish, so we could do that, as well as Healing Wish. I don't know if you saw that after I backspaced her beforehand, or rather, but it has Healing Wish right there. And this thing really, it's just, you know, gonna be beefy and big and strong and god damn it. That's really it. Soft Boil it also has Stealth Rock and other hazard things. And because it's a normal type, it has access to a variety of coverage moves. I believe it has, yeah, it gets Fire Punch, Flamethrower, Fire Blast. I believe it also gets, yeah, it has ice moves down there as well. Also dual screens in case that's how we want to have it set up at. It also gets Teleport so that we can take a big beefy attack and then switch out to something that can deal with the Mon right in front of us. So that is the Season 5 Chicago White Sox. Let me know which Mon is your favorite on the team. Let me know your nicknames that you might have for these guys. And if there's anything that you would have rather seen on my team, let me know. It's obviously in any draft you have, any regular draft anyway, you have a free agent exchanges. So I think we get 5 up until week 8 out of 10. So, yeah, we could switch out things there. And, you know, comment below your comments, like I said before. This is our team. The team looks hype. We don't have a mega, but that's okay. That could change later on down the road. But, yeah, like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe. If you are new and you want to be on this YouTube ride with me, tickle that bell so you know when I'm uploading. And with all that being said and more, this has been your boy, Snowy Kurama. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.